It started in 1995. After experiencing the confusion and the totally constructed postmodern theory, I decided to start out very simple with an empty space, with a line, and the other extremely simple movement of a brush or a pencil, the circle. Then I started to play with those simple abstract forms. I isolated them in frames and combined them with framed isolated figures. Sometimes I exhibited each of the three framed pictures in different rooms and sometimes together like this. When I separated them, I activated memory in the audience, and with that I activated the importance of representation, the parts and the whole, space, time and memory. At that point I stopped saying abstract and started to say more general instead, and I stopped saying figurative and started to say more describing instead. The intellectual art scene in 1995, when I started this project, was rather hostile against figuration, painting, representation and illusion. So I decided to introduce illusion to my project and reflection. At that time, like some strange kind of accident, I was invited to exhibit at the Munch-aula in Oslo in the occasion of a lecture by UNESCO about power abuse in Europe today. The flat dot circle had now, at this point, become a whole. This invitation by UNESCO gave me the opportunity to make my general black holes into a site-specific black sun over Munch's sun. This was my commentary on abuse of knowledge and power today, also in the art scene. Right after the exhibition in the Munch-aula, I strangely enough was invited to exhibit in one room at the Kunstnernes Hus in Oslo. The white cube is a more general environment, so it was a brilliant opportunity to exhibit many general black holes. As you have seen till now, my works has a logic from one work to the next. I demonstrate here that the logic is so clear that I can play the progress from 1995 until now like an organic floating animation. I am working with pictorial morphology. If we follow my progress from here, it's becoming more and more complex in its content. So I have to increase the details from here in this animation. But at this point I made a new separation. I hung the more general paintings, works on the wall, the frames of the context. The miniatures, with its clearly describing stories, I placed in the center of the room, like sculptures to underline the concrete in describing. The first complex storytelling miniature works I made was built like houses, and the houses they had outside walls that was like a starry sky. One side was blue and one side was red, like the dawn and morning sky. On these outside walls I placed hybrids, black flat hybrids. On these outside walls I painted windows formed like the Ten Commandments from Moses, which is, as we know it, the start of the juridical, the praxis of judgment. It was a lot of windows in those houses. This is the only window from the outside view where you could see what was actually happening in there, on the inside. This scene, if you see it, from the inside looks like two lovers, but the outsider sees that he's stabbing her with a knife. Again, I have to increase the details even more because this universe becomes more and more complex, even in the reflected dimension and in the formal dimension. But I mainly are interested in the presence of things as surface, as contemporary abstract, like the question. I'm interested in different views on how the dark and the flat makes things melt together, and on how the light and the space valeurs describes and separate things from each other, and makes it possible to judge. I'm interested in how the dark has its significant quality of raising the question. Then I came to a point where I had to really experience and achieve perception from concrete work with the illusion aspect of my work. So I decided to look at what that was hiding in the dark. The outsider, outside, and the inside subconscious is in a way similar. So I started to work with no censor of my decisions. I was extremely aware of the dangers in dealing with the darkness for a period. So first I made myself an alter ego. You can say a figurative alternative to Malevich, the modern lonely Christian black square emptiness, to remind myself about that danger. After some years now with practicing the art of molding out from darkness, I'm trying to get into continuity of my morphology, and as you see here, the first step is that my stripes is becoming snakes in my modernism. And the rather dark gothic pictures my mind projected, I placed them back into the silhouettes or somewhere between as the first step.